Have you ever gotten to the checkout, looked at the receipt, and just felt a little overwhelmed by all the numbers? The discounts, the taxes, it can get confusing. Well, today, we're going to clear all that up. We're going to break down exactly how to calculate your final bill, from the sale price all the way to the grand total. Let's get into it.
So here's the puzzle we're tackling today. We've got 3 different items, each with its own unique discount, and then a single tax rate slapped on at the end. I know, at first glance, it might look like a bit of a headache, but I promise you, we're going to make this so simple that you'll be able to do it in your head next time you're shopping. Because really, this isn't just about doing math. It's about being a smart consumer and making sure you know exactly where your money is going. So, you ready? Let's become savvy shoppers together. Okay, the best way to tackle any puzzle is to break it down into smaller, manageable pieces. And that's exactly what we're going to do with this bill. We'll look at each part one by one, and before you know it, we'll have the final answer.
So here are the pieces of our puzzle. We've got our 3 items, each with a different price. Then, each of those items has its own discount percentage. And finally, there's a flat 12% GST, or goods and services tax. The key thing to remember is that the tax gets applied after we figure out the discounts. So let's start there.
First up, we need to crack the discount code. The price you see on the tag, the MRP, is almost never what you actually pay during a sale, right? So our first mission is to find the true sale price for every single item. To keep things super clear, let's just zoom in and focus on one thing at a time. We'll kick things off with item 1.
All right, here's what we're working with. Item 1 has an MRP, or maximum retail price, of 250 rupees, and we've got a nice 30% discount on it.
Now, that 30% tag is great, but it doesn't tell us the actual cash we're saving. To figure that out, we need to calculate the discount amount. It's simple. You just multiply the price, the MRP, by the discount percentage.
And there we go. 30% of 250 is 75. So that 30% off sticker means you are saving exactly 75 rupees. But remember, that's not the price you pay. That's the amount you don't have to pay.
Which brings us to this crucial step. To get the actual sale price, we take the original 250 rupees and subtract that 75 rupee discount we just found. And that leaves us with 175 rupees. Perfect. That's the sale price for our first item. 1 down, 2 to go. Now that we've got the method down, we can cruise through the others. For item 2, it's 200 rupees with 40% off. Well, 40% of 200 is 80, so 200 minus 80 gives us a sale price of 120. Then for item 3, 32% off of 150 rupees is a 48 rupee discount, which means the sale price is 102. See? Same simple steps every single time.
Awesome! We've figured out what each item costs after its discount. Now, for the second half of our puzzle, we need to add everything up and then calculate that final tax to get our grand total.
So, just as a quick recap, here are the sale prices we just calculated. We've got 175 for item 1, 120 for item 2, and 102 for item 3. Having it all organized like this makes the next step a piece of cake.
And that next step is simply adding them all together. 175 plus 120 plus 102 gives us a subtotal of 397 rupees. Now this number is super important. It's the total taxable amount. We don't calculate tax on the original prices, we calculate it on this discounted total. And that tax, as we said, is the GST, the goods and services tax. In our little shopping trip here, the rate is a flat 12%. This tax gets applied to the total value of everything in our basket. So, just like we did with the discounts, we're going to follow a simple 2-step plan. First, we'll figure out what 12% of our subtotal is in actual rupees. Then, we just add that amount on top to get our final bill. Let's do it!
Okay, step 1. Let's calculate the tax. We take our taxable amount, 397 rupees, and multiply it by 12%. That gives us a GST amount of 47 rupees and 64 paisa. This is the very last piece of our puzzle. We are so close.
And for the final move, we just add that tax to our subtotal. So 397 plus 47.64 gives us our grand total, drumroll please, 444.64 rupees. And that's it, puzzle solved. So let's take a step back. What did we actually just do? Well, we followed a really simple, repeatable process. And we can boil it down into a handy 4-step formula that you can use literally anytime you're out shopping.
Here it is, your very own smart shopper formula. Step 1, find the sale price for each individual item after its discount. Step 2,
Add all those sale prices together to get your subtotal. Step 3. Calculate the tax based on that subtotal. And finally, Step 4. Add the tax amount to the subtotal. That's your final bill. That's the whole method right there.
You know, it's worth remembering why knowing this stuff even matters. Henry David Thoreau once said, "The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it." When you understand these numbers, you really understand the value of your own hard work.
And that brings us to the end. So I'll leave you with a little food for thought. Now that you've got this 4-step formula in your back pocket, are you ever going to look at a shopping receipt the same way again? Thanks for tuning in.